The streets were a lot quieter when you walked in. Everything seemed very uneasy. It was basically only carts for the most part. Mostly only people who were essentials on the street when you guys got back. Most citizens and stuff like that seemed to be staying inside. When you came back in, you didn't see any sign of danger though, but there was definitely some sign of kind of strange feeling. You also noticed that there was a guard at every corner. Like, this is Feyram we're talking about, and there's more guards than usual around. They seem to be on a...
Just single, like one guard per corner.
At least.
Yeah, okay.
There's many guards.
And they seem to be on a constant rotation. The city, by the way, is like kind of like pentagon, hexagon sort of shape. So they're constantly like circling around, basically, around the whole city and watching as much as they can.
I see everywhere.
You notice that all of them now have a horn at their side. You can think the Viking style sort of horn.
Makes sense.
As you guys make your way in with that unease, nothing happens. You guys make your way back home relatively safe, as far as you can tell. With the days forth, things get more and more tense. Each day, a messenger is dropping off a letter. Well, not each day, but on every few days, a messenger drops off a letter at everyone's house, updating on what's going on. Basically telling you to what?
It's just like, yeah, nothing's changed. Werewolves have gotten worse. We're not fixing it.
Pretty much.
It's pretty dope.
The most that you've gotten is that citizens should try and avoid walking the streets if they can help it. Food is being delivered to houses and everything like that. But there's definitely a struggle in terms of resources at the moment. Thankfully, living in the upper district, you're treated like royalty. You can basically call upon anything you want as you need. You just simply go out, talk to the guard, they send it from there, and you'll get it delivered as soon as they can.
The worst case scenario, I have infinite food and water.
Yes, correct.
Funny this.
I'm trying to think what else you need to know. Yeah, so in terms of the actual situation at the moment, they're not really saying that it's gotten worse or anything like that.
But you can
the fact that it's not getting better is sort of telling.
And you do notice that as the weeks go by, there's more and more sounds at night. It starts with just scratchings in the street, and when you look out, you don't really see anything. And then over the next few days leading up to the new year, you start hearing howls and weird screeches, especially at night. And there's a lot of tension around the city that you can feel as the first day of the new year is a full moon.
Of course.
There's a lot of suspicions going around that this will be a day of cataclysm, so to speak.
It's extreme.
A day where Feyram will fall. There's a lot of now what you'd kind of consider cult-like preachers roaming the streets, calling for Feyram's downfall. And there's calls for people to pledge their allegiance to the church and stuff like that, and that they'll be safer in Finra's cathedral than they will be in their homes. you're not actually sure whether these creatures are actually associated with the cathedral or not. You somewhat doubt it, honestly.
Yeah, look, these are probably like the guys in the equivalent of medieval Facebook.
Yeah, pretty much. They're not dressed in the cathedral robes or anything like that, so you think they're just crazy people, basically. But in saying that, at least for you especially, the full moon is always a worrying time. It's always kind of made you a bit sickly whenever there is. You don't feel quite as well on the full moon. You don't feel quite as powerful on the full moon. It definitely affects you. But given that, as of the first couple of weeks of being in this situation, no one has reportedly been attacked. You don't think there's too much to worry about. But then again, why would they report that?
No. Yeah, I figured it was
I'm just like, I think we're gonna rock up, there's gonna be like a room with bodies in it.
Yeah, I figured there's been stuff.
So, as the weeks go on, drawing nearer and nearer to the first of the new year, the prospects of having a proper New Year's seems less and less. Normally, Feyram celebrates by getting these carts filled with fireworks, and they set them up around the city and set them all off at once, and you see these huge explosions go across the top of the city. Generally in the colours of Feyram, red and gold, just across the whole city, and the whole sky becomes this red and gold masterpiece, basically. They seem to get more extravagant each year, but that seems unlikely this year.
Just another year of R&D.
So, spending your weeks reserved in your home, what do you two wish to do over these couple of weeks? So, just so you know, there's 3 weeks that you have to do training or anything. If you want.
Well, we can't count for training.
We have a bit. And then the last week is where we start moving into you guys actually doing things.
Okay.
What training did we go over?
So I done the knowledge.
Yep, you got that.
I learned already known spells, got my charisma. I learned item teleport, like item void teleport.
Yep.
And I mostly learned the control heartbeat. I just need to do it in combat. And that's when
Lovely. And then you learned the combined ability.
Yeah, I learned clairsentience, spells to be more alert, and something else. Clairsentience, the spells I got for free. There was another week I don't remember. Oh, detect thoughts. I can detect thinkings.
Yes, thinkings.
Thinkings.
I detect all of the thinkies.
Yes, I am big brain.
So, once these weeks go by, again, the howlings and everything get worse and worse.
Oh. I'm like caught almost sneaking out a few times by my dad.
Yeah. It is up to you as to whether you guys...
I do want to do something.
Do you end up going to the college? Because you do have the...
Yeah, I have something to do there.
It's a small, like, pearl-like orb.
Yeah.
That can pull you to the college.
Yeah.
If you need to go there.
Well, before I do that, what I want to do is I want to check if papers have been dropped off for me.
These were the papers for...
Yeah, for the Parasite.
Yeah.
I remember like ages ago in game. I asked for it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, they should be in by now.
So,
We don't really
there's
have to
actually a few things that are dropped off for you
Okay.
over the next few weeks. I'd say this would be within the second week.
Really?
Yeah.
Because before we left, it was meant to be soon.
I know. Yeah.
I guess for a bird.
Yeah. When it does arrive, you see this red and yellow. It looks like a small phoenix almost, but it's not on fire or anything. It's just got the same color scheme of red and yellow, and it looks like burnt colors, basically, into it. And it lands on your windowsill early in the morning. you're barely waking up. You're just sitting on your bed, and you look over to your little hexagonal windowed area with your bookshelves and your little work table and everything. And just on the outside of one of your closed windows, it's sitting at the top.
Oh, my mail.
It's just looking at it. It's just pecking on the window.
Yeah, I probably immediately think, oh, it's my mail. Open it up.
You make your way up, and you kind of half climb up on the bookshelf and open the window, and it kind of ducks its head in and flies into your room and just lands. And it has a scroll in its mouth and a small bag on its chest.
Okay, I guess I'll take it and have a look through.
Yep. So the first, are you taking the bag or the scroll first?
Yes, the scroll.
Okay. Taking off the scroll, it's wax sealed, so it seems like it was meant to be kept closed, basically. Nice. You cut it open with a seal cutter, and you pull it open. It's a spell.
Really?
You don't recognize it, though. Doesn't seem to have a name.
What school is it?
So it seems to be abjuration.
Interesting.
But it has multiple spell schools. But overall, it seems to be abjuration. You do see mentions of evocation and divination on it as well.
Interesting. That's really
but
weird.
The divination is counter divination.
Oh, so like I forgot what it's called, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
There's like spells like that. Okay. What's in the bag?
Digging into the bag, you see a number of letters.
Oh wow.
About 4 or 5 of them. You look through that. There's 5 letters there. You pull them all out. It seems to be a piled up bunch of letters. It looks like someone wrote a letter, then realized it wasn't enough, and then wrote another letter.
God.
Like called the belt back, got it again, wrote another. It seems like he
Right.
wasn't very organized.
Well, he kept finding out new stuff.
Yeah, kept finding out new stuff, kept calling back his bird, and then sending them off to you.
Okay.
You take out the letters. The first letter.
Little dump time.
Huh?
Info dump time. Oh yeah.
The first letter is describing what it actually is.
Okay.
First off, as far as he knows, which is that it's basically a bioweapon used by the Crimson Orcs to infiltrate into other orc clans.
What the hell?
Apparently they've been doing research into it, and apparently this parasite has actually been put in a number of clan leaders around Elsjor.
Okay, that's a problem.
Now, they can't tell the clan leaders that, though.
Yes.
Because then the parasite...
We'll kill them.
Yeah. And apparently the parasite can react in many different ways in terms of killing its host. But basically, as soon as the host is told, or as soon as the host knows that it's got a parasite, or that you're trying to stop the parasite will kill the host, and kill any other linked parasites. They think that this parasite has been put into each of the clan leaders, and all of them are connected up. They don't know how many clan leaders have it, because you can't tell, because until it starts reacting, you can't actually see if it's affecting the person or not.
Well, you can see it from Vorn.
Yes. So that's the weird thing. And you start going through the next few letters, and he starts talking about the fact that he shouldn't be alive.
Okay.
And this is the thing that he doesn't know. He does not know why Vorn is alive. He also doesn't know who Vorn is. I believe you told him who it was that was infected, I assume?
I don't think I did.
Did you not?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think most I would have mentioned it's an eye.
In that case, he does ask who it is. Did you tell him it was an orc? Or no?
Yeah, because we told him it was a goblin that fucking transformed into
Yeah,
an orc.
you did.
Yeah, okay.
So he does ask who the orc is. And he wants to know as soon as possible. Because he thinks potentially that it could be one of the clan leaders. And that potentially his best theory is that maybe the clan leader's archmage had found a way to stop the parasite from reacting, but it meant that he had to be sent out of Elsjor and basically memory wiped.
That's actually reasonable.
That's his
But
best
he says he has
theory.
memory of his family.
Memory wipe can not just wipe memory, but also change it.
Modify memory.
Yeah, correct. So
We have one hell of a modify memory.
We have an important dude.
there's some very powerful archmages in Elstrel.
Yeah, but ninth
Oh, not
level can
archmages,
only change a
mages.
month of your life.
Yeah,
No,
correct.
ninth level modified memory is like over a year or something.
Well,
Yeah, hang
Are
on.
you sure?
still, this is a whole lifetime.
It's definitely powerful, but like
So, in this case, roll an Arcana check.
pretty good. That's like my proficiency bonus has changed. 24.
24. Cool. You assume that for this to work, he has to have something on him
Oh, ninth level is anytime.
that would constantly conjure this on him. This isn't so much a one-off spell thing. This is a curse that's been put on him.
Okay.
So then your theory would be that his personal mage and likely closest friend, because most of the time they are, probably reluctantly put a curse on him that would switch his entire memory out for someone else's. So very likely there's someone else in the world who thinks that they are the clan leader of
Okay.
wherever he's from.
That's interesting.
You don't even know whether it's Indominus or not. So yeah, it could be with literally anyone from somewhere on the planet. It also actually could just be simply captured, his memory. So it could be stored in an item rather than in another person. In another person would be easier though, and safer, although crazier.
Yeah.
What else? He in one of the later letters.
Level up.
He describes the spell that he's.
Oh,
doing.
okay. There we go.
It's an experimental spell
Okay.
that could potentially remove it for a short period of time, giving back the memory. Basically restoring the person to the way they were before.
Okay.
Remove the curse plates on them, not the parasite.
So he doesn't know about the curse, but he's saying that remove the parasite
Oh, okay.
and temporarily bring them back to their normal self. He doesn't know whether this will be useful or not. Now you know that it could potentially be useful. He doesn't know if it'll be useful, but it could be an opportunity to get information. Because generally he says that people do not remember the things leading up to getting that parasite put into them. So generally the parasite itself actually takes away some of the memory. But you think more than that has been done.
Okay.
For Vorn in particular. Other than that, obviously, so just so you know, he goes into quite a bit of detail as to how it works and what it does. It basically, it first starts off by consuming the person's eye or the person's body part, depending on what it's attached to. Generally, it's an eye, because then they can see, because they can only rely on the senses of the creature it's parasitic to. So it basically eats the person's eye and uses the eye to create a new one. So it's basically cloning the eye that it eats. So it looks exactly the same. This is the parasite.
Okay, yeah.
This isn't a spell. This
This
is
isn't
just
a
a
spell.
creature.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, but the spell to consume the eye.
No.
They're not using a spell, it's physically eating
the
it.
parasite
Oh,
eats the eye.
the spell makes the parasite eat the eye.
There's no spell.
Not spell.
Wait,
The spell removes the
You're good.
parasite.
Yeah,
The
spell is
parasite
a
just
separate
eats
thing.
it.
We're on a new conversation.
Right.
Yeah, sorry.
They were so connected.
No,
One
you're all
leads
good.
to the other.
Sorry,
No.
yeah.
No.
Sorry. Yeah, no, that's all good. So the spell is for potentially reverting the person back temporarily and removing the parasite temporarily. Likely won't remove it permanently unless it's put in the hands of a very powerful caster.
What does it specify like what happens if you remove the parasite and just like crush it while it's out?
So as you apparently it has been experimented with. He doesn't go into much details beyond that. But as soon as anyone even considers removing it within a certain area around the parasite, it kills the host.
Wait, even if it's out of the body?
So as in, as soon as you get close enough to remove it, it somehow detects a threat and then kills the host. So he doesn't know how, but believing that it's some sort of aberration, it likely has
Psionics.
some sort of psionics to detect threat, basically. He doesn't think that it is like psionically capable beyond something like that. It's probably something passive.
Yeah.
Like a genetic thing that it has, and it can just detect threat.
I might be able to deal with that.
Aside from that, it's just going into how it works and what it looks like. There's a drawing on one of the pages, and it shows that the parasite itself is it looks kind of like a head crab. Is the best way I can describe it. And on the top of it, it's like this fleshy bluish mass of just like fat and muscle and stuff. On the other end of it, there's these tendrils that come out, and inside the tendrils, there's this cylindrical grind-like mouth with just teeth all the way through it. He's also managed to dissect one of them and open them up and show what's on the inside, and there's nothing.
Okay.
They have nothing in them. So he doesn't know how they actually live.
Potentially extra-dimensional.
Not sure.
Okay.
Was there anything else you asked about?
I might have mentioned the eye coming out when we tried to charm him.
He did.
Yeah, you did. He has no clue as to why that was.
Okay.
He tells you that if you try and charm them normally, they kill the host.
Oh.
Basically, anything you do to try and decipher them or anything like that, they just kill the host. They have no remorse. It's basically just a threat. And he thinks that the Crimson Orcs know that they know about them. And that's what they were counting on.
Right.
They want the other Orcs to know that these parasites are in their leaders and their people. Because they want that to be a threat. Because then it could be in anyone.
Man, these guys.
And you can't check if it's in someone.
Yes.
Because then they die.
Well then, what that tells me, perhaps, is that...
It hasn't been killing him every time we've gone to see him. With the intent
He
of
should
fixing it.
very much
Yeah.
be dead.
My assumption is that, for whatever reason, it wants him alive. Potentially he was someone quite important, though I don't know why they want him alive here.
Our chief's built different.
Well, he is swole, but that's not...
Yeah,
Well,
quite
that's the
thing.
thing. He does say that other chiefs have been killed already.
Right, so it's not a chief thing. So...
But they're all linked. If one killed... If one
No.
dies, they will
That's
kill.
like a... I think that's like a suicide... Like, I think that's a thing they do
That's a
deliberately.
contingency.
Yeah, contingency is the word for it.
So
It's not if you kill one of them, all of them die.
Yeah.
If one of them kills itself, it kills the others.
Yes, correct.
Which means that the others have been killed by someone else, not their own parasite.
No?
Because if the parasite's killing it, then...
Okay,
it would be...
so if the parasite... Basically what you gather...
Like, it could kill him... Like, it could kill the chief without being discovered.
Yeah,
it could just...
it has a
just-
choice.
It could just not be useful. Like, it can... Yeah, that's a good
So it can kill the chief, but not itself, and that doesn't kill all the other parasites. And then usually someone else will kill it. Or it'll run off.
Or you can just...
Or if it kills itself, then all of them die. That's what is gathered.
Okay.
Yeah, in terms of the whole charm thing, he has no idea how it's alive. Because again,
It
basically
should've
any interaction that they've tested has ended in death.
Might have just been because we didn't know what was going on at the time. My guess, though, is Vorn is in some way valuable, even out here nowhere.
The only other thing that he gives you is that potentially he's not a part of the link.
That makes sense, actually.
He could be a part of a different link.
Yes.
A link that doesn't have the contingency of just murder.
Okay.
So in that case, he may not actually be a chief or anything like that. And he may genuinely just be a guy from Zeldris.
Alright.
And there may be the terrifying prospect that
That's-
Zeldris also has this parasite problem. In that case, Feyram is flanked by 2 places that the Crimson Orcs control.
Lol. Okay.
How they got into Zeldris is a whole different question, because Feyram sets up borders in not only the land but on the ocean. And it's basically impossible for Elsjaw to get outside of Elsjaw.
Well, given the...
Vampires get in.
Hmm?
Vampires get in.
Well, you teleported
They're a
in.
whole different thing.
Yeah.
Well, what I was going to say...
You also have a dad who
Yeah, that's what I
can
mean.
go anywhere
What I was gonna
without
s-
anyone stopping him.
What I was going to say, though,
That was the
is
one.
if they could, in some way, align themselves with or just use a parasite to control a powerful enough oracle, they could get through, because Feyram's defenses are largely non-magical at this moment.
Correct. Well,
That's
largely is an
different.
understatement.
Oh, I thought you were going to say as far as you know. I was like, yeah, as far as I know.
No. Largely is very much an understatement.
Yes.
Feyram,
I'd tell the college grounds, I'd be surprised if 30% of what we'd expect a country, a war city, to have its mages employ. Like, I just... Oh.
there is the Gorksry Academy, but that is on the west of
Yeah, it's way
Feyram,
away.
which is shared with the borders of the country next to it, next to Feyram. So it's a shared college anyway.
Okay.
That's the information you get.
Alright.
You now kind of understand why it took so long.
Yeah,
Just because, A, there was a lot of revisions to this. It seems like he might be actively testing this.
I brought something important to their attention.
Well, you're not sure whether you brought it to them or they were already doing it.
Yeah.
And he's just including you in their research,
Yeah.
basically. But yeah, it seems like there was a lot of revisions. There's lots of like crossed out words and stuff. Yeah. That's what you get.
Okay.
So Vorn, in this case, could be one of 2 things. Either someone from Zeldris, which means Zeldris is somehow being invaded by the Crimson Orcs,
Or you could be...
or he is a chief.
Yes.
Those are the 2 main options at the moment,
He
and
is-
neither of them are good.
He is extremely swole. Is Chieftain, like for Crimson, is it like the strongest thing?
Pardon?
For Crimson, is like the Chieftains the strongest ones?
Is it like the strongest
yeah.
prevails? Or like
Yeah,
Okay,
for Crimsons, it's the strongest is the chief.
Considering that he's
Whoever
already...
can beat everyone else up.
But he was scrawny as...
Yeah, but after a week of training, he's big.
Yeah. After a week
Yeah.
of training, he was already stronger than basically everyone in the arena.
Surely they don't lose their muscle mass that quick.
How long do you think he was out?
Yeah.
We don't know.
He said that he doesn't know how much of his memory is missing.
Yeah.
Well, it was the minimum time of the goblins doing cut.
I mean,
So,
that was
like-
like a couple of weeks as far as we know. It's probably
Yeah.
much longer.
He also could, there's all sorts of things that could have happened to him.
I'm just thinking, if he was if he was already decided to be a chief beforehand, surely he wouldn't be a puny dude that just could get buff. Surely he'd be fucking ripped
I mean,
beforehand. If strongest is if the strongest orc is the chief.
I mean, I don't really know how Crimson Biology works.
Neither of you do.
I mean, my other...
You know that they develop muscle mass extremely rapidly.
Yeah, maybe the stronger ones develop faster. My other point is maybe if he was just not in strength training for 10 years or some shit, you know? Then he would be scrawny. Muscles do like degrade. I don't know what happens to a
Depends
human.
how he was treated, basically.
Yeah, I don't
Because
know.
like
what
think
happens-
about it, if he was starved and dehydrated,
That's a good
and all
point
that
as
sort
well.
of stuff, he could have lost muscle mass very, very quickly.
Yeah.
That's an option. Potentially, he's also just got a unique set of genetics.
Yeah, well, I was thinking
that
perhaps
make his muscles degrade, but also what's the opposite of degrade?
enhance, improve,
Enhance,
grow.
yeah, quicker.
Yeah.
So yeah, he
He
could just be on a
become
weird
swole
cycle, sort of thing.
extremely fast.
Yeah. So you're not sure.
Yeah.
Again, neither of you know much about Crimson Orcs.
Yeah.
Realistically, it could be anything, any number of reasons. You also don't know how long his journey was,
Yes.
so you don't know what's happened. He could have been chief of some way years ago,
Yeah, that's what I was
and it just
suggesting.
suddenly cropped up now.
Zeldris, can you come over here for a bit?
You climb up the ladder. And you can see this big fiery yellow and red bird just sitting in the middle of his room, and it's just sitting up. It's literally sitting next to you now and just reading with you.
2 eyes?
Yeah, 2 eyes.
I like that one, definitely.
It's not mine. Right, anyway. So, I actually got some info on that parasite.
Oh, lovely.
Couple of things. First of all, Vorn should be dead.
Right.
Which is a good thing. Because, well, it means that it's not killing him, when it very much could.
Okay.
So we gain some mercy here. So I have a proposition. To get rid of it, I can get rid of it temporarily, but I don't know how to get rid of it permanently. Judging from this, my understanding is that it mentally detects threats and responds to that.
Right.
You wanted to train to guard your mind, yes?
Absolutely.
This could be an opportunity, depending. I could just do it myself as well, but if you end up being good at it, this might be a good opportunity to train for that. Because my best guess is if we can sufficiently detect or disguise our intent, it shouldn't attack. Unfortunately, we don't have a test subject.
So what happens if it attacks?
Well, if it attacks, one dies.
Right.
Well,
But,
you assume
yes,
because
that's why I was saying it was a
he's
good thing.
survived this long.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I'm saying it's a good thing, because it might not kill him in that case. So my theory is if we can disguise our intent, we might be able to actually get it out of him.
It also may not be the same parasite.
Perhaps.
It's kind of that's one thought that comes into your back of your head is that maybe this is a different one,
Yeah.
and maybe that this one that he's presenting with is just the one in Elstraw.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
also could have evolved because it is basically kind of a virus.
Well, it's biological.
Yeah.
Even if it's not a virus, as long as it has a sufficiently, I guess, high reproductive rate.
Yeah.
I guess short generation span is a better way to put
Yeah.
it. It can evolve. It can evolve
That
on a
would
scale that would
require
be
that it's
noticeable to us.
reproducing inside while it's in him.
Not necessarily.
That
They
would
could-
make sense though, because it's
It
taking the
is
majority
growing.
of his blood away from his heart.
Yeah. They could also just, they could just reproduce rapidly outside of a host, and this
That's
could
true.
be one that came from there.
Yeah.
I think they're both reasonable. But my best guess is if we can disguise our intent, we might actually be able to get rid of it. So, this could be a chance for you to learn to do that. But we don't have a test subject, so we'd just be kind of doing it blindly.
Right.
We
How
do.
would we get rid of it? Is it something that I'd stab?
Well, the threat is that
See what?
the threat is that it kills the host. I think it isn't too. I'll show him diagrams. It doesn't look too difficult to kill on its own.
You also don't know what kills it.
No. Well, we have a sample.
Normally there's a a spot you hit, right? For a human, it's their brain.
Well, if you just
That's
tear it
their
to
heart.
ribbons is my assumption, but we do have a test sample, so we can determine it that way. Hopefully, it depends on if it's alive or not. If not, we can potentially just get more of the sample. You collected it. Vorn. There was some of it lying around.
There's the slime.
Oh, the slime. Right.
Depending on what's in the slime and if it's close enough to being alive, this could be used to determine what kills it.
You'd have to find someone that could do that though.
Yes.
Okay.
that would either require probably someone like Arthur or a doctor.
What about a potion maker?
No.
Really?
So the problem with a alchemist is that as much as they could determine things about it, it's not going to determine the things you want to figure out. It'll determine its use cases in alchemy. So its effects for alchemy. So like that could be useful.
Right.
But it's not going to like give you much. Well, I mean it might.
They don't have the...
Depends what info you want.
I mean, they don't have biodestructive compound number 11 ready?
No.
Okay.
And so we can reverse engineer the information that you'd give us.
Potentially they could, reverse engineer it. They'd be the best ones to reverse engineer it, but it's more about if you wanted to determine. Well, again, depends what you're wanting to determine as to who you'd go to.
Well,
if you want to determine if it's psionic, probably go to someone like Arthur.
Arthur?
Well, just because he deals with creatures.
I guess.
And you do know that he has dealt with aberrations because you saw a number of his books.
Yeah. I think
so. As much as psionics isn't a crazy thing for him, it's something he probably knows somewhat about.
Well,
that's probably why his reaction to you guys wasn't as.
Well, I'm already assuming it's psionic, but either way, that's not really relevant. It might be relevant to kill it actually.
Because if it doesn't have a brain.
Oh, that's why it's empty. Okay.
If it doesn't have a brain or a heart or anything like that, then how do you finish it off? I mean, cutting it to shreds might work, but then it could just reform. Like, if it doesn't have something vital to keep it alive,
that's true.
Then surely that wouldn't kill it.
Okay. So that's step one of the plan. The sky's intense, so we can kill it. Step two is how do we kill it?
It could be feeding off.
It's hiding something.
Like inside of itself?
Potentially.
Not a bad idea.
It could be hiding its vital spot. And maybe cutting it open actually doesn't reveal its vital. If it is a psionic creature, often you know little bits about this. Often psionic creatures can hide vitals or move their vitals outside of their body. Psychometabolism does that very well.
Yes.
You can actually move your internal organs into a completely separate space and still use them. It's drastic, especially for such a small creature. You doubt that would be a thing, but who knows, honestly.
Interesting. Well, given how I can use suggestion, could it not just do something similar to just make you perceive it as not having internals?
Wait, sorry, say that again?
Could it just not make you perceive it as not having internals?
Yep, it probably could.
Modify memory and senses?
Yep.
I think that's actually reasonable.
Since it's already modifying people's memory, maybe that's the thing it can do.
Might be... I mean, that's still fairly powerful to just have as a passive thing.
It is an aberration, though.
But it's a step down from moving your organs, I'd say.
Yes. For an aberration, that's not out of the question.
Yeah.
For things on the material, that would be pretty intense, but, everything from Aum is ridiculously powerful. It's just not a place you go. You go there to die. And that's it. Mortals are not meant to go there for good reason.
Yes.
And things from Aum are not meant to come to the material for good reason. Because compared to magic that you guys deal with, psionics is magic.
Right.
It's like how advanced enough science is magic.
Yeah.
Well, magic is magic to science. Psionics is magic to magic.
Okay.
It's out of the realm of comprehension by most people. It's what makes Novitás unique.
Oh no. Okay, so that's my idea to deal with this so far. With the Sky's Intent, we can figure out how to kill it. If we can do both of those, then we can get rid of it. So you could start learning to do that now, I guess, if you wanted to do it. I might be better at learning it, but you do want to do it either way.
I think if Vorn's life is at stake, it's probably better if you do it.
Okay. I haven't done this before, so I might make notes for your reference later.
It's
Good idea.
probably a good idea, yes.
Okay. I guess...
So, run me through what... Say, we're in Vorn's cell right now. Vorn's sitting on... I just like Novitás, but Vorn's sitting there. Run me down what's going to happen.
Normally, if it detects you want to harm it in any way, it will just kill him.
Right. So, you are disguising your intention.
Well, if it can't detect that, and that's... So this is assuming that that is how it works, which I think is reasonably likely, but let's assume it is. Then it shouldn't kill him if you make a threat towards it. Potentially, if it has, like, touch sense, and you kill it too slowly, it might be able to react and kill him.
Remember, it has the same senses that Vorn does.
Right.
That's the issue. But...
Well, I mean, that's fine for Zeldris.
you could also use that to your advantage.
I mean,
Deprive Vorn of his senses, and the creature does not have senses.
I mean, also, like, let's say, in this example, it's you can fairly easily sneak up on someone and take out their eye.
Yeah.
Like, it's not actually too much of a concern. Obviously, it's a...
You have to do it quick. It
It's
has
like-
to be swift.
His room is a box with a door.
Yeah.
Like,
Obviously,
You'd have to make another entrance, basically.
I could TP through the window.
Yes.
Just teleport in, take his eye out.
It's... Zeldris would say that it's definitely possible. It's...
difficult to do it that fast, right?
to do it not only quickly, but accurately, very difficult maneuver.
Okay.
Without cutting off half his face.
Would
At the speed that you
blinding
have to.
deafening him help?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be a great option.
Teleporting,
The big
blind deafen.
sense that will be difficult, though, is pain.
Yeah, I don't really think I can dull that.
That's
I can try,
that's
but,
probably
like-
your biggest obstacle. Is
Okay.
that as soon as it detects any pain, if you're not quick enough to cut it out before the pain receptors kick in,
That's hella quick.
exactly,
That's so fast.
then it's going to be difficult.
Like,
You need to either delay that or completely nullify.
we need to delay it, because there's no way I can move in milliseconds.
I might be...
That's not unreasonable.
Zeldris
not
doesn't
at the
think he...
level-
Yeah.
For a vampire or Dampier, it's not unreasonable.
Especially speeders.
Yeah. But for you right now, it's a little
Yeah.
out of your league.
Yeah.
Well, I might be able to do that. I think taking it out of him is going to be a long-term issue, unfortunately. In the short term...
You don't think it's an immediate threat?
Definitely
it's
hurting.
causing
Withering
him
away his
pain,
body, isn't it?
and
Yeah.
it sucks for him. But he doesn't look like he's gonna die.
Yeah, right.
Like he looks like he's pushing through it. It's just not enjoyable.
No. Well, so I think it's probably going to end up being a longer-term thing. I could use this spell in the short term to get some information. I think...
After getting the information, is it not just going to kill Vorn once it returns?
Was that clear in the letter, Reese?
So it
this is
says
to our own
it's very
interpretation.
experimental.
That is unknown.
Would it be a wise idea if once we detach it to distance Vorn from it? Physically?
Yeah?
He gave it to you as something that could potentially be used if you find a use for it.
Okay.
It's implied that it's not really meant to just be used
Yeah.
on a whim, like just to try something. You need to have like a plan before you use this.
Yeah.
Because A, if you use it instead of a very high level spellcaster, you're not going to get a lot of time.
No.
You
If
probably
you get someone
need...
like the Archmage.
Honestly, you probably need a high level cleric that understands the arcane well.
Oh, God.
Which is not common.
No.
That's rare.
No.
Like, in fact, that's basically unheard of. Neither of you know of a cleric
No.
that can do that. And you have a feeling that asking something like that would probably not get you very nice answers.
No. Okay, well...
That would be basically heresy to ask a priest, hey, do you know much about arcane magic?
I mean, what about, like, a Arcana or Knowledge Cleric?
So, a priest or cleric under Zethus would be the exception. But
You're gonna walk up to them and they're gonna be like, yeah, got it. Kaboom! Lightning bolt.
yeah, unfortunately, you're not on the best of terms with Zethus.
Unfortunate. I was like, hang on, no, those exist, right? So my guess is that this is a longer term problem. Honestly, it might just be mainly for me to work on. I'm thinking I can take this to Arthur since he already knows. Maybe he can help figure out how to kill it.
Right.
I don't think there's much you can do though, so you don't have to worry about it for now.
If I do manage to kill it, if it has a soul, it'll go to Malak.
That's true.
Is that
Well, every living thing has a soul.
okay?
Actually, even every undead thing has a soul. It's just usually trapped.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
The question is if it is living or undead.
what would... Is that just to give it to Moloch? I don't think there's anything helpful for us in that.
Well, that would be
someone we
helpful.
know has the soul.
He could actually tell you about it as well.
Oh, if he has the
and
soul.
if it's connected to everything else,
Oh, okay, that's actually
he
supremely
could tell
powerful.
you everything.
Isn't that breaking the rules of demigod?
Oh yeah, big time.
I mean, he kind of already is,
But keep in
He just
mind.
picks and chooses when he's willing to do it.
Well, here's the thing. You're more and more understanding that he is less and less becoming a demigod, being a demigod. Like, you saw that portion of mortality firsthand. He's clearly not, and he's also not in the underworld right now, so he's clearly not 100% demigod right now. Some rules can be broken when you move yourself towards being mortal. Because he doesn't lose any of the memories or anything, at least if he does it correctly.
Right.
So there is potential for that to work. But yes, if he chooses to stay as a proper demigod or leave the material to become a proper demigod again, he couldn't tell you.
Right.
Because yes, that is very much against the
Yeah.
rules.
I was like, hang on, I feel like there are so many situations where I've asked a question where it's like, yeah, I could definitely get an answer here, but he's not allowed to.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, if you do kill it, that could be really good. But for now, I think this is probably going to be something to work out with Arthur until I have a better plan.
Right.
Good to have
Is
this.
it a good idea to keep him in the arena where he is?
I don't think it specifies that it's like infectious, right?
No, it says that it once it's attached to a host, unless that host dies, it's not going to reattach itself to anyone. As far as they know, it doesn't reproduce to create more of them.
Do they know how like links work between them? Are they like a
No,
brood or...
they believe it's something psionic, but they don't know how it works because they don't have anything to create a psionic connection. Because usually you need a mind, but there's no mind there.
Okay.
But the weird thing about that, you've detected a presence of a mind
Okay.
with Vorn. But he's saying that there isn't one.
So either it's hiding it or we are dealing with something different.
Or perhaps I'm more able to detect it
True.
given my... yes. Okay.
That's definitely a possibility. Given your more direct connection with telepathy.
Oh, I meant the Psychana, but that too.
Well, that's what I mean.
No, yeah. Okay.
You definitely have a high... Even if you're not as skilled as many of the Oracle Orcs in psionics, you definitely have a higher aptitude for it and a higher sensitivity to it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess the other thing I wanted to do was talk to Arthur. One about this, but first I wanted to talk about the werewolf thing because,
Yes.
well, Silverin wanted information, yeah?
Who did?
The Knight.
Grand Knight.
Ah, yes.
Yes, well, they have information at the Athenium, we can give it to them. That can help them deal with the problem and maybe get us to actually do something about it.
You'll have to get them to work together, though.
Well, no, because we're bringing the information from the Arcanum to them.
They ain't working together, they're working with us.
Yep.
Ayo.
But keep in mind, you are under suspicion at the moment.
Yes. Well, that's why I wanted
So
to...
you're not even
being
sure
watched.
whether you can access Silver right now,
Well, I can just, like, hand in a letter?
potentially.
Like, I don't have to talk to her directly.
It may not get to her, though.
Sending them.
I would probably have to learn that.
I know. That's what I'm telling you to do.
Not the worst idea. Probably illegal. Is there even laws about that? Probably illegal.
You don't know enough about the law.
It's Feyram. If anything, it's their fault
Generally-
for not educating you on what isn't allowed with magic.
A general understanding of the law would be that you can't use magic against someone else.
So I'm not using it against them.
Sending isn't a hostile spell.
Like, I'm...
Well,
Surely.
It depends on the verdict of Feyram.
Yeah,
And
I
are
know.
you willing to trust
On a sending
Feyram's
spell?
government?
Holy... If they try to imprison us for a sending spell, then yeah. I'll fight Feyram.
These
They've
guys...
imprisoned mages for less. If it's without the receiver's permission, it genuinely could be against the law. It more depends if she reports
Yeah,
it.
exactly. That is boggling to me. Also,
But you know that magic of any kind, using it openly, especially to someone, or in their words, against someone, it's specifically worded that way for good reason, can cause legal issues.
That's so...
So it's more if you trust the Grand Knight enough to not say anything about it.
I don't really know. She did seem to take us seriously.
she takes her job seriously, and she also wasn't exactly...
She was the only one willing to listen.
Yeah, because keep in mind, there's a number of other Grand Knights that just flat out didn't care.
Yeah. If we're gonna do it, that's by far our best bet.
She also was, when I suggested they work together, she seemed
there was-
particularly annoyed.
She...
I assume she has protested for something similar in the past.
Yeah. Well, didn't she agree with us working with the Arcanum to get info? I believe that was the case. Risky, but it might work out.
She probably won't lie to her superiors, but if you give her a lot of information, and then she can convey that as being a Grand Knight, it's definitely going to have more impact. And if she just lies or says something believable about her source, or she's done her own investigating or whatnot.
So what would we do if we were to do this? Send her, like, this is Novitás and Zeldris, don't panic, information on the werewolves is located underneath tile B37 in the shopping district.
Tile B. Feyram's not a f***ing chessboard.
Coordinates for city. Well, if we can be that precise, then yes.
Well, we can just designate an arbitrary spot to leave, like a letter.
Yeah.
B37 is an arbitrary space. I play Dragon Chess. I'm sitting there with a board right now. I've
We're
written...
just playing over looking
Yeah.
at letters, just
Take out my quill. B37 boys.
Actually, I feel like... Oh, actually, no, you didn't have many supplies. Did
No, I probably...
Because there is Oracle Chess, which is actually
That's
pretty
cool.
cool.
I mean, there's already Dragon Chess.
And so the queen is those towers.
Right.
And it actually has a ranged attack rather than it being a moving thing.
Oh god, that
Yeah.
sounds radical.
And there's a whole bunch of different little pieces in it. It's a whole magical version of it.
At one point,
It
you were
has
gonna make
multiple
magic
layers
chess.
as well, so it's more like 3D chess.
Oh.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Huh?
I'm not asking for that.
What were you
I'm not
saying?
asking for 3D chess. That's
No.
gonna give me a headache.
Have you seen the, like, 4D chess game on Steam?
I've looked at it.
No thanks.
It's pretty great.
Okay.
I think there was a review like, oh, I was gonna win, but then my buddy went back in time and checkmated me in 5 different games.
He's so scarfed, he confuses the shit out of me, I'm not gonna lie.
Cursed.
Anyway,
Well, regardless of whether we do that, we can try and talk to Arthur, because we might not even be able to get that information from the Athenium. Because remember, the Archmage probably doesn't want this either. So my suggestion is we talk to him and try and see if we can even do this.
Do we talk to Arthur or the Archmage?
Talk to Arthur. Yeah,
Are you going alone? Do you want me to come with you?
you can come.
What's the-
I don't think you need to, but you might as well, unless you're busy.
Past 3 weeks I've been very not busy.
Okay, you can come.